What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be doing this, a modern, trendy landing page. Very artsy. Look at that. Oh. What is up, everybody? Gary Simon here. So today we're beginning the part one of a two-part series where I show you how to create what we just saw in the browser. So today we're just going to be focused on the UI UX design of this particular artsy sort of design that you see on some of the top websites from AWW Awards. And we're going to be working within Figma, and I'll be kind of just describing the thought process of creating these types of layouts. And then in 2 days, we'll be releasing the front-end development portion, the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that's required to make all of this stuff happen, how to get it laid out first, and then add that animation on the characters, also moving this around based on the mouse position, and also this Three.js sort of transition effect. Although we won't be working within Three.js itself, there's a library that makes doing this sort of effect very easy. All right, so if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and let's get started. Now wait just a moment, you're about to watch me embark on some UI UX design, but what if you are just a complete beginner about UI design? If that's the case, check out my UI design bootcamp at scrimba.com. At Scrimba, you don't just watch videos. No. You're actually able to modify code in the browser while you learn. My course on UI design features over 100 lessons that are specifically tailored to help you become an awesome UI designer, and they're packed with interactive challenges. So visit the very first line in the description of this YouTube video to access my course along with many others for a very low monthly fee. All right, so we're here in Figma. You can do this in XD. We're not doing anything prototyping like that, so it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to use is fine. We're going to click here on the frame tool, and we're going to get started with a desktop 1440 by 1024 preset. I think it's a really square preset. I like to work in more of like a 16 by 9, so I just drag this up right around here, and we'll be good to go. So that's like a 1440 by 812 or so. And let us get started. So first thing that I like to consider, background. All right, background color rather. What are we going to use? Well, either something light or dark. Rarely do I like to use something mid-tone because that kind of automatically hinders the readability in the contrast. Although it's okay to do that if you have like an inner container and everything's like in there and something that's a higher contrast. So for this, I'm just gonna go with a lighter color scheme. So something like in the yellow area. Let's try to bump this up. I hit control. Ooh, no, don't want to do that. Well, I just want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. So right here, obviously full hue. If you could drag the little color picker in the upper right corner. When you add light, you tint. When you add darkness, you shade. And when you add grays, you tone. Just a little bit of terminology for you. So we have a little bit of tone, a lot of tint, and it looks like crap, especially in contrast to the canvas in which it's sitting, because there's not a lot of contrast. So it's hard to design on an artboard or a layout when you have that situation. Adobe XD or Adobe Experience Design, I originally started this design in that application, but there's no way to change the background of the canvas. And so I even hit up on Twitter Adobe XD and Howard Pinsky, I think that's his last name. He works there. They have no plans to allow you to change it. However, Figma does. You just select here, and then you have the background color, and we'll just choose something, you know, like a dark gray that contrasts well with the layout or the frame background itself. So we're good right there. I like this. It's like a desaturated, you know, very light, you know, it's like a beige color essentially. And so that is EEEADC if you want to follow along to the T in terms of using the same colors. So also what I like to do for the first thing I like to consider when I'm throwing together a layout is the headline. What is the headline? What type of font we're going to use for it? Is it if it's a really long headline and if there's a lot of other content requirements, like we have to put a bunch of text elements and stuff, that's going to influence my decisions, obviously, because you obviously can't make something really large when you have all these other requirements. For this particular design, we're only literally going to have a headline and a subheadline, but we're going to make it really artsy and cool. So for these type of modern artsy layouts, it's not acceptable to use just a standard plain Jane boring font. Although you can get away with it depending on how you you construct the typography in terms of the tracking, leading, and all that. But I kind of want to use something that's a little bit more unique. One that a typeface I've never used myself, and it's called 6 caps, and it's already here available within Figma. So I'm going to take the type tool or hit T on your keyboard, just drag out here, and we're going to type in spectacular series of events that will unwind you. Okay, so 6 caps, let's type that in the text portion, and let's make that thing monstrously large, like 153. All right, so that's pretty large. Again, it depends on how you want to structure your layout. I mean, you can create kind of like 2 rows here, one here for like a subheadline if you want to make this span out further, or we could push this in. I think I went with this. I like that. Now the leading here, or the line height, is pretty far by default in terms of this font. So we're going to manually adjust that by clicking right here in this little line height area, and we're just going to hit the down keyboard arrow to manually, just visualize how we want this. I think that right there looks pretty good. All right, next up we're going to have that subheadline as I mentioned. So we're going to just left click once. I'm just going to slam the keyboard, and we're going to get a really good visual hierarchy established here. If you're new to the channel, I talk about that a lot, visual hierarchy. Right now, you're not sure which of these pieces of type you should look. Why? Because they're all exactly the same in terms of all the UI design fundamentals. Scale, color, the actual font, the typeface itself is the same. Everything's the same. So let's create a contrast between these two, because clearly one of these is going to be more important than the other. So this is the headline. Usually your headline's more important. It's the first thing you want them to read. So it'll usually stand out more so in either terms of contrast, color, scale, font family, and all that. We're going to stick with the same font family though. So let's scale this down to 24 or so. And I just lied to you, by the way. I decided for this example, we're going to use a different font family. And it's going to be Playfair Display SC. All right. So now I'm going to type this in. Join us for a journey into the unknown and wow your senses. Just some stupid ad copy I came up with. Let's bring this in here. Wait, is there a line on top? What is it? Oh, it must be the crazy line height. Let's just put auto here. There we go. Now we can kind of just bring this back in. All right, so that is a huge amount of contrast between these two pieces of type. They look completely different. One is bold and very condensed. It's a tall font. And then the other, you can also say it's a sans serif font because it doesn't have all the tiny little things hanging off like a Times New Roman. But also, this one is kind of the opposite in all senses. So it contrasts really well. They work well together. All right, so this is already looking really cool just for what it is. But let's add some other design elements to it. All right, so first of all, before we do that, make sure whenever you're trying to line things up in terms of your columns and your rows, or vertical and horizontal, you make sure they're lined up perfectly. And you could do that by hitting Shift-R to get the rulers out, left click and drag right up against our piece of type here, and then make sure that is there as well. You can hit Shift-R again to toggle those off, but you can always just bring those back if you wish. All right, so there's a lot of different ways. What we want to do now, I just kind of want to add texture. So texture is a different, it's just like a terminology in design where we're just trying to break up the solid background and give the eye something else to look at, although we don't want it to take away or distract from this main important type text here. So there's a lot of things we can do with this type of layout. The purpose is art, so we can do a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, we have a few fundamentals that we have to adhere to though. Let's take the line tool and let's just create a line. You can do that if you want. Why not? One thing I wouldn't do, that does not look good. It's a tiny little space in between here. Just doesn't look good. You could possibly get away with that if you drop down the opacity of the pass-through, maybe just like to 10%. Yeah, but honestly, I kind of want to bump this to 20. And we're going to move it over back to kind of where it was. Oops, I did not put that. There, 20%. There we go. And it's not saving. It doesn't look like it's saving. Oh, let's put that at 100. That got changed as well. All right, so now we have just like a line that starts here, and it's defining just like this nice padding. There's white space between these two elements, and you could completely add elements like this just as a form of texture. You can add another one over here, for instance. You could do that. I mean, these are very low contrast elements, so it's kind of hard to screw up the background in that regard. This time, maybe instead of adding another line, we can add like a column over here. So let's make a column that goes like right here. All right. So with this, we want to put this to the bottom. Now, what's wrong with this? All right. So this right here, these two different colors. This one obviously lacks a hue. It's completely grayscale. They don't really go well together. So if we just want something that's a shade or a tint of the same hue, we're going to select this and we're going to grab that color, and then we can just shade it by dropping it down, tint it by pushing it to the left, or that will tone it as well. And you can see we have a little bit of tone in here, like I said, because we're in the grayscale area. We're not at the very top or the very right. And somebody's messaging me. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna shade it in the same hue. So pull it down. Maybe I'll push it over a little bit to the right. There we go. See, this works very well. It makes the layout more interesting. So if I delete it, you can see much more simplified. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a creative decision, a subjective decision that we're making with the layout. But when we bring it back, it just adds a little bit of structure to the layout. And it's completely okay that it's behind the text. Why? Because the text is still very readable, because these are so close together. They're not high contrasting elements. You could also put in a photograph in here, and that's what we're going to do. So how can we use a photograph effectively in this context? Well, with this selected, we're going to go over here. We're going to plugins. Go to Browse Plugins in Community if you don't have the Unsplash plugin. It's very simple and easy to just click the install button. Once you search for the Unsplash plugin button, come back here and it'll be there. So Unsplash. And we're going to put in, what are we going to do? We're going to put in emotional. All right. Yeah, we'll use this. There we go. This right here, not good. Why? Can't see the of, right? You can't see this part. Why? It's because there's not enough contrast between the two. It would be the same thing, for instance, I'm going to duplicate this just for temporarily. If we were to just, instead of not having an image, if this was a solid color, it would be the same thing of like doing this. This is wrong. There's not enough contrast. So very important that you mind that. It doesn't have to be an image. It could be a solid color. It could be a pattern. It could be an illustration. Make sure there's a good amount of contrast that's behind your type in relation to the type itself. So let's bring these back over, edit, undo a couple times. Now, how can we correct this while still using a photograph? A lot of different ways. We could click on this image, come right here and choose luminosity. So now we've kind of created a grayscale out of it. And it works well. It just kind of fits now much better, but we still have the contrast issue. So we could drop down this. So I'm just holding my down keyboard arrow here, the down key, and we can come down like that. And you can also change this fill. There's two fills here. One's a solid color. You can make it, you can like slightly tint it, or change it, or just leave it the same, really, if you wanted to. And there you go. We have something that's interesting. People are psychologically drawn to eyes and spectacular series of events that will unwind you. So it kind of fits the theme with whatever this fictional purpose is for a site, and it just works well. We could also do other fun design things, like we could just put a rectangle kind of right here that's centered here within this type. And we'll make it black. Of course, all this stuff we can achieve with CSS. It's a little bit thick for my liking, so maybe I'll hold Alt, scale that in, make it a little bit smaller. All right, so we've added something else to this. One of the things I see often is kind of this idea of where you have like this, like a rectangular image of some sort, and they're kind of weaved in between the lines of the type or the headline. That's something I've seen often. It's kind of a trend when it comes to these types of artsy websites. So before I do that though, let's take all this stuff and get this kind of more centered, equal white space on the top and bottom. And so let's go ahead and get ourselves an image. We'll go back to Unsplash. We're going to type in abstract. And let's just, oh God, no, I didn't want the preset. That's massive. Undo. All right, let's search and then search for abstract. That way we can have control over the image that we want to use. I like this one, so we're going to select that. All right, scale that sucker down. All right, so how can we weave this in between the text? Like maybe this layer, maybe it's behind this middle piece of type, but in front of this one and in front of this one. So we'll have to reconstruct our type real quick. So what we can do is just delete that type. We'll duplicate, Control D, events that will, Control D. And we'll put in unwind you. So now we'll take this, and it's just a matter of ordering your layers. Oh wait, I'm doing this wrong. We want this one. Oh, it's not even inside of the artboard. Where's this layer? So we want this one to be on top. There we go. All right, and maybe we'll make this a little bit larger. So Shift Alt scale up, left click and drag. And maybe we'll drag this in the artboard itself, or the canvas, or whatever you want to call it. And then you can't have one of these modern artsy websites without changing the cursor. You can, I'm just joking, but let's do that because I like to show the technique, the front-end development technique in the process of doing it. Get rid of the fill, add a stroke. Maybe we'll take down the opacity. And there we go. So of course this isn't interactive. We can't really animate along with the mouse position here in Figma through the prototyping. But you can just kind of understand that it's going to move around in relation to the position of the cursor. This little cursor thing is going to follow the cursor wherever we move it around. And we're going to achieve all that through HTML, CSS, and of course JavaScript. So this is just a quick idea of these types of layouts that you see that are really trendy. Hopefully that made sense to you. And here are some final thoughts. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that. You learned something about layout design. Of course, so much more is going to be included in the DesignCourse.com relaunch. So make sure you go to DesignCourse.com. It's going to be ready in about 3 months or so. It's going to be awesome. So look out for the part 2 video of this here that's going to be releasing on Thursday or in 2 days from the release date of this video, where I'll show you how to do the front-end development portion. All right, I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.